The massive alien fleet moved through space like a dark cloud that blocked out the stars. 9,900 ships of different shapes and sizes formed the largest attack force the galaxy had ever seen. At the center of this enormous fleet, Admiral Kefver stood on the bridge of his command ship, looking at the small blue planet ahead. Earth, he said the word like it tasted bad in his mouth. Such a tiny world to cause us so much trouble. His second in command, a tall creature with purple skin and 4 arms, nodded. The humans have refused our generous offer 3 times, Admiral. They insist on keeping their independence. Kefver laughed, a sound like metal scraping against stone. Independence. They speak of independence when they have barely left their own solar system. We have conquered 47 worlds, and not one has lasted more than 6 hours against our fleet. The bridge crew moved quietly around them, checking weapons and preparing for battle. Representatives from 17 different alien species worked side by side, each bringing their most advanced warships to this fight. The Thraxians had contributed their heavy battleships with plasma cannons. The Zeltrons brought their fast attack vessels with energy shields. The Kovan Empire had sent their massive dreadnoughts, each one larger than anything humans had ever built. How long until we reach their defensive perimeter? Kefver asked. 2 hours, Admiral. Our scouts report they have 12 orbital platforms and about 36 ships. Nothing that should concern us. Kefver smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. Excellent. We will give them one final chance to surrender. If they refuse, we will show the galaxy what happens to species that defy the coalition. Far below on Earth, President Jake Harrison sat in the Emergency Command Center buried deep beneath the White House. The room was filled with military officers, scientists, and government officials. Large screens showed the approaching alien fleet, each ship marked with a red dot. There were so many red dots that they seemed to cover the entire display. How many again? President Harrison asked, though he already knew the answer. General Lisa Morgan, a woman with gray hair and tired eyes, looked up from her reports. 9,900 confirmed vessels, Mr. President. Our satellites have been tracking them for the past week. They're bigger than anything we expected. And our forces? 12 orbital defense platforms, 36 heavy cruisers, and the special projects we've been working on. Sir, I have to be honest with you. By normal military calculations, we should surrender now. President Harrison was quiet for a long moment. Around him, the room buzzed with quiet conversations and the sound of computer keyboards. Everyone knew the situation was desperate, but no one wanted to say it out loud. What about the Luna base? Harrison asked. Commander Alex Bennett, a young man with short black hair, spoke up from his position at the communications desk. Luna base is ready, sir. We have a clear view of the approaching fleet through our telescopes. The aliens are moving slowly, probably to intimidate us. They want us to see them coming. Are they succeeding? Bennett looked around the room at the worried faces. Some of our people are scared, sir, but most are angry. They're angry that aliens think they can just show up and tell us what to do. Dr. Kate Williams, the military's chief analyst, cleared her throat. Mr. President, I've run the numbers a dozen times. Even with our most optimistic estimates, we're looking at odds of nearly 300 to 1. The aliens have superior technology, superior numbers, and they've never lost a battle. Never lost a battle, President Harrison repeated. That might be their weakness. Sir, they've never faced real resistance. Every species they've conquered has either given up immediately or been destroyed so quickly they never learned how to fight back. We're different. General Morgan leaned forward. What are you thinking, Mr. President? I'm thinking that sometimes the best defense is to let your enemy underestimate you. Dr. Williams, what do our files say about coalition battle tactics? Dr. Williams pulled up information on her computer. They use standard formations, sir. Overwhelming force applied in waves. They surround a planet, demand surrender, then begin orbital bombardment if refused. It's worked for them every time. Because no one has ever been prepared for them, President Harrison said. We've been watching their communications for 10 years. We know they're coming. We know how they fight. And we've been preparing. Commander Bennett looked confused. Sir, what kind of preparations? I know about the orbital platforms in our fleet, but that's not nearly enough. President Harrison smiled for the first time all day. Alex, how long have you been stationed at Luna Base? 3 years, sir. And in those 3 years, how many construction projects have you seen around Earth? Bennett thought about it. Hundreds. Sir, new buildings, infrastructure repairs, space elevator maintenance. Normal stuff. Normal stuff, President Harrison repeated. Kate, show him the real construction reports. Dr. Williams typed quickly on her keyboard. The main screen changed to show a different view of Earth and the surrounding space. What had looked like normal construction and space debris was highlighted in different colors. Bennett's eyes grew wide. Those aren't just buildings and debris. Fields. No, they're not, General Morgan said. We've been preparing for this day for a decade. Every major construction project, every piece of space junk, every satellite we've launched has been part of a massive defense grid. The orbital platforms are just the beginning, President Harrison explained. We've built weapons into civilian structures, hidden defense systems, and what looks like space garbage, and created communication networks that the aliens can't detect or jam. Dr. Williams pulled up more information. The aliens are used to fighting species that barely have space travel. They've never faced an opponent that's had time to prepare, that's studied their tactics, that's built specifically to counter their advantages. What about their technology? Bennett asked. They have energy weapons, force fields, faster than light travel. We're still using missiles and projectile weapons. Sometimes old technology is better than new technology, General Morgan said. Their ships are built for fighting other energy weapon-equipped fleets. They're not designed to handle large amounts of kinetic energy delivered at high speeds. President Harrison stood up and walked to the main screen. The red dots representing the alien fleet were getting closer. In 2 hours, they're going to demand our surrender. We're going to refuse. Then they're going to attack us with the confidence of a force that has never been defeated. And then? Commander Bennett asked. And then we're going to show them that Earth doesn't surrender. We're going to show them that humans fight differently than any species they've ever encountered. We're going to show them that sometimes the smaller force wins because they have something the larger force doesn't. What's that, sir? Everything to lose, President Harrison said quietly. They're fighting for conquest. We're fighting for our families, our homes, our right to exist as free human beings. That makes all the difference. The room fell silent except for the sound of computers and radio chatter. Everyone understood that in just a few hours, the largest space battle in human history would begin. They were outnumbered by an enemy that had never been defeated, using technology that was centuries ahead of their own. But they were not giving up. They were not surrendering. They were human beings defending their home, and that meant something the aliens had never encountered before. On the main screen, the red dots continued their approach toward Earth. In space, Admiral Kethver prepared to send his ultimatum to the small blue planet below. Neither side fully understood what was about to happen. The aliens expected an easy victory. The humans expected to fight for their lives. Both sides were about to discover that sometimes the greatest battles are won not by the strongest force, but by the one with the most to lose. Admiral Kethver stood before the communication screen as his message was transmitted toward Earth. His voice was cold and formal as he spoke the words he had used many times before. People of Earth, I am Admiral Kethver of the Galactic Coalition. Your planet is surrounded by 9,900 warships representing 17 different species. You have refused our generous offer to join the coalition as a member world. This is your final opportunity to surrender peacefully." He paused, letting his words sink in. "You have 1 hour to respond with your unconditional surrender. If you refuse, we will begin bombardment of your orbital defenses and major population centers. Your resistance will be crushed, and your species will be enslaved. Choose wisely." The transmission ended. Around him, his bridge crew prepared for what they expected to be another easy victory. They had used the same message 47 times before. Every species had surrendered within the hour. On Earth, President Harrison listened to the alien message with his military commanders. When it finished, the room was quiet for several moments. 1 hour, General Morgan said. "They're not wasting time." "Good," President Harrison replied. "Neither are we. Send our response." Dr. Williams activated the communication system. President Harrison stepped forward and looked directly into the camera. "Admiral Kefver, this is President Jake Harrison of Earth. We have received your ultimatum. Our response is simple. Earth does not surrender. Earth does not bow to threats. If you want our world, you will have to take it from us. We are ready." The message was transmitted back to the alien fleet. On his bridge, Admiral Kefver watched the human president with surprise. In his long military career, he had never received such a direct refusal. "Foolish creatures," he muttered. "Very well, begin the attack. Send the first wave." 2000. Alien ships broke away from the main fleet and moved toward Earth. They formed the standard coalition attack pattern that had worked on every previous world. Heavy battleships in front to absorb defensive fire, followed by fast attack vessels to exploit weaknesses, with support ships providing cover. Captain Ryan Murphy stood on the bridge of the USS Defender, one of Earth's 36 heavy cruisers. Around him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. They had trained for this moment for years, but training was different from the real thing. "Captain, we have 2,000 enemy ships approaching," his sensor operator reported. "There, using a standard wedge formation. Just like the simulations predicted," Murphy said. "All ships, this is Defender Actual. Hold your positions until they reach the first marker. Remember, let them come to us." The alien ships moved steadily toward Earth's orbital defenses. On his flagship, the alien commander in charge of the first wave felt confident. The humans had 12 small defense platforms and 36 ships. His force alone outnumbered them 50-1. "Target the orbital platforms first," he ordered. "Once they are destroyed, the human ships will be easy prey." But as the aliens closed in on what they thought were simple defense platforms, they were about to discover their first mistake. The structures were not just weapons platforms. They were massive particle accelerators that had been disguised as defensive installations. Dr. Steve Carter sat in his control room deep beneath NORAD Mountain. Banks of computers surrounded him, all connected to the defense grid that had taken 10 years to build. His finger hovered over the activation switch. "All platforms report ready," his technician announced. "All ships in position," came the report from the fleet. "Alien fleet has crossed the first marker," the sensor operator called out. Dr. Carter pressed the switch. "Activate the grid." Around Earth, 12 structures that looked like simple defense platforms suddenly came to life. But instead of firing conventional weapons, they began accelerating particles to incredible speeds. Streams of matter moving at significant fractions of light. Speed lanced out toward the approaching alien fleet. The alien commander watched in shock as the first beams struck his ships. The energy weapons his force was designed to counter were nothing like this. These were solid projectiles moving so fast they punched through his ship's shields like they were not even there. "Evasive maneuvers," he shouted. "Return fire." But the aliens had made their second mistake. They had assumed Human weapons would work like their own energy-based systems. Instead, they faced something they had never encountered. Pure kinetic energy delivered with devastating precision. The first wave of alien ships fired their plasma cannons and energy beams at the orbital platforms. The weapons struck the platform shields and armor, causing damage but not destroying them. The platforms had been built to survive, with multiple layers of protection and backup systems. Meanwhile, the particle accelerators continued their deadly work. Alien ships exploded as streams of accelerated matter tore through their hulls. Others spun out of control as their engines were destroyed. In the first 5 minutes of combat, the aliens lost over 300 ships. Captain Murphy watched the battle from his position near the moon. All human ships advanced to Position 2, prepare to engage enemy survivors. As the human fleet moved forward, the aliens got their first close look at human ship design. What they saw confused them. Human vessels looked crude compared to their sleek, advanced ships. But appearances were deceiving. Colonel Amy Foster coordinated the ground-based defenses from her command center in Colorado. As the alien fleet tried to regroup, she activated the second surprise. All hidden installations activate and fire. Across Earth, structures that had looked like normal buildings, communication towers, and industrial facilities suddenly revealed their true purpose. Railguns emerged from disguised positions and began launching projectiles into space. The aliens found themselves under attack not just from the orbital platforms and human ships, but from the planet itself. The alien commander of the first wave tried to understand what was happening. His fleet had been reduced to fewer than 1,500 ships in just minutes of combat. The humans were using weapons his people had abandoned centuries ago, but somehow making them devastatingly effective. Admiral Kethver, he transmitted back to the main fleet. The humans are not fighting like any species we have encountered. They are using primitive weapons, but in ways we did not expect. Request immediate reinforcements. On his command ship, Admiral Kethver watched the battle with growing concern. He had expected the first wave to clear Earth's defenses in minutes. Instead, they were being destroyed by weapons that should not have been effective against modern warships. Send the second wave, he ordered, 3,000 ships. And tell them to use caution. These humans are more cunning than we anticipated. The second wave of alien ships approached more carefully. They used their shields and maneuvering systems to avoid the worst of the particle beam attacks. But they were about to discover that humans had more surprises waiting for them. Captain Murphy led his squadron toward the approaching aliens. His ship, the Defender, was not as fast or as advanced as the alien vessels, but it had something they did not expect: the first alien ship. To engage, the Defender fired its plasma cannons at point-blank range. The energy beams struck the human ship's armor and shields, causing damage but not destroying it. The alien commander was shocked. His weapons should have cut through the human ship easily. Murphy smiled grimly. Return fire. All weapons. The Defender's guns opened up on the alien ship. Instead of energy weapons, they fired solid projectiles at tremendous speed. The alien ship's shields, designed to deflect energy, were useless against physical projectiles. The shells punched through the alien hull and exploded inside. Target destroyed, Murphy's weapons officer reported. Next target acquired. Across the battle area, human ships engaged alien vessels in close combat. The aliens quickly learned that human ships were built very differently from their own. Where alien ships relied on advanced technology and automation, human ships were built for survival and redundancy. When an alien ship lost its main power, it was helpless. When a human ship lost its main power, backup systems kept it fighting. When alien ships were damaged, their crews often panicked because they were not used to taking heavy damage. When human ships were damaged, their crews kept fighting because they had trained for exactly this situation. Lieutenant, Commander Beth Adams commanded a small human destroyer that engaged 3 alien cruisers at once. Her ship was outgunned and outnumbered, but she had advantages the aliens did not understand. "Take us in close," she ordered. "Ram if necessary." Her crew looked at her with determination, not fear. The concept of deliberately ramming an enemy ship was foreign to alien military thinking, but humans understood that sometimes sacrifice was necessary to win. The destroyer charged directly at the largest alien cruiser. The aliens fired everything they had at the approaching human ship, but Adams' vessel kept coming. At the last moment, she fired all her weapons at point-blank range before her ship collided with the alien vessel. Both ships were destroyed, but the explosion damaged the 2 remaining alien cruisers so badly they had to retreat. Dr. Carter monitored the battle from his underground command center. The quantum communication system he had developed allowed all human forces to coordinate perfectly, sharing information instantly across the entire battle area. Admiral Kefve stared at the battle reports with disbelief. In just 2 attacks, he had lost over 2,000 ships. No coalition fleet had ever suffered such losses. Around him, his bridge crew worked nervously, their confidence shaken. "Admiral," his communications officer called out, "the Thraxian fleet commander is requesting to speak with you." Kefver activated the communication channel. The face of Commander Thaxron appeared on the screen, his purple skin darker than usual with anger. "Admiral, my people have lost 400 ships in these attacks. The humans fight like madmen. They ram our vessels with their own ships. They continue fighting even when their ships are destroyed. This is not normal warfare. Your point, Commander?" Kefver asked coldly. "My point is that perhaps we underestimated these humans. Maybe we should negotiate rather than continuing this assault." Other fleet commanders began speaking up on the communication channel. The Zeltran leader complained about unexpected losses. The Coven commander questioned the battle plan. For the first time in coalition history, member species were doubting their military leadership. "Enough!" Kefver shouted. "We have committed too much to retreat now. We will attack with our full fleet. 8,500 ships will overwhelm any defense these humans can mount." But even as he spoke, Kefver wondered if he was making the right choice. The humans had already proven they were different from any enemy the coalition had faced. On Earth, Lieutenant Commander Beth Adams led her new squadron toward the approaching alien reinforcements. Her previous ship had been destroyed in the ramming attack, but she had been given command of another vessel within hours. "All ships, this is Adams Actual," she transmitted to her squadron. "Intelligence reports that alien ships have a weakness. Their automated systems make them predictable. When they take damage, they follow standard repair procedures. We can use that against them." Her squadron consisted of 6 human destroyers, each one modified with the latest captured alien technology. Engineer Lavra Johnson had been working around the clock to adapt alien shield systems to human ships. "Commander Adams," Johnson's voice came through the communication system. "The shield modifications are holding. You should have 70% better protection than before." "Understood, Lavra. How did you figure out their shield technology so quickly?" Johnson laughed, though she sounded tired. "Their systems are too automated. Once you understand the basic principles, you can predict how they will react to different types of damage. Humans build things to be repaired by people. Aliens build things to be repaired by machines." Adams understood. Human engineers were trained to fix problems with whatever tools they had available. Alien engineers relied on their advanced automated systems. When those systems were damaged or confused, alien ships became helpless. "All ships, engage at close range," Adams ordered. "Make them fight like humans, not like machines." Meanwhile, Captain Joe Rivera commanded a special assault group tasked with targeting alien command ships. His squadron had been modified with captured alien engines, making them faster than standard human vessels. Target acquired, his sensor. Operator reported. Large alien command ship, heavily defended. Rivera studied the tactical display. The alien ship was surrounded by escorts and protected by energy shields. A normal attack would be suicide. Prepare for ramming speed, he ordered. His crew did not question the order. They had trained for this possibility. Human military doctrine included tactics that alien species considered insane. The willingness to sacrifice ships and crews to achieve victory was something the Coalition had never encountered. Sir, we could try to disable the ship instead, his weapons officer suggested. Negative. Our mission is to disrupt their command structure. Sometimes the only way to win is to hit the enemy so hard they cannot recover. Rivera's ship accelerated toward the alien command vessel. The escorts fired everything they had at the approaching human ship, but Rivera's crew had rerouted all power to shields and engines. They kept coming despite taking heavy damage. At the last moment, Rivera fired all his weapons directly into the alien ship's bridge section before his vessel collided with the command ship. The explosion destroyed both vessels, but it also eliminated one of the alien fleet's primary coordination centers. Across the battle area, similar attacks were taking place. Human crews, fighting for their families and their world, consistently outperformed alien forces that were fighting for conquest and glory. Dr. Steve Carter monitored the battle from his command center and noticed something important. The alien fleet was having communication problems. Without their command ships, individual alien vessels were not coordinating their attacks effectively. General Morgan, he reported, the aliens are losing their tactical coordination. Their fleet is starting to fight as individual ships instead of as a unified force. Can we exploit that? Morgan asked, already working on it. I am activating the hidden defense network now. For 10 years, Earth had been preparing for this battle. Part of that preparation involved placing automated defense systems throughout the solar system, disguised as space debris and asteroid mining equipment. Carter pressed a series of switches, and suddenly the space around Earth came alive with weapons fire. What the aliens had thought was harmless debris revealed itself to be thousands of automated gun platforms, missile launchers, and mining lasers converted into weapons. The alien fleet found itself under attack from every direction. Ships that thought they were safely behind the main battle lines suddenly faced swarms of automated defenders. Admiral Keffer watched in horror as his fleet fell into chaos. How is this possible? Our sensors showed nothing but debris in these areas. His science officer checked his instruments frantically. Admiral, the humans have been planning this for years. They disguised military installations as civilian infrastructure. Our intelligence completely missed it. How many hidden weapons do they have? Unknown, sir. Every piece of space debris could be a potential threat. Dr. Pete Robinson worked from a secret facility on the far side of the moon, coordinating the automated defenses. He had spent 5 years developing the control systems that allowed thousands of hidden weapons to work together. All defense platforms. Focus fire on alien command ships, he transmitted. Priority targets are vessels with the strongest communication signals. The automated weapons responded instantly, turning their attention to the most important alien ships. Without their command structure, the alien fleet became increasingly disorganized. Commander Frank Stone led a team of engineers who were reverse engineering captured alien technology in real time. Every alien ship that was disabled provided new information about Coalition technology. I have got their faster-than-light communication system figured out, Stone reported. We can intercept their messages and even send false orders. Do it, President Harrison authorized. Confuse them as much as possible. Stone began transmitting false retreat orders to parts of the alien fleet. while intercepting real communications from alien commanders. The result was complete chaos in the coalition forces. Some alien ships received orders to retreat while others were told to advance. Some were ordered to target specific areas while others were told to hold their fire. The careful coordination that had made coalition fleets unstoppable was completely broken. Captain Dan Brooks took advantage of the confusion to lead a strike force deep into the alien formation. His mission was to capture alien technology and prisoners for intelligence purposes. "Remember, we need their ships intact if possible," he reminded his crew. "Board and capture rather than destroy." This was another human tactic that confused the aliens. Coalition forces were trained to fight until their ships were destroyed. The idea of boarding and capturing enemy vessels was considered primitive and dangerous. But human Marines, trained for close combat and ship-to-ship fighting, proved highly effective at capturing alien vessels. The aliens discovered that their crews, used to fighting from a distance with energy weapons, were helpless against humans with simple projectile weapons in close quarters. "Alien ship secured," Brooks reported after his Marines had captured and Kovian. "Alien cruiser. Crews alive and cooperative. They seemed shocked that we did not kill them." "Standard coalition doctrine is to fight to the death," Dr. Williams explained over the communication channel. "They are not used to being captured alive." The captured aliens provided valuable intelligence. They revealed that coalition species had become soft from centuries of easy victories. Their crews were not trained for desperate fighting or prolonged battles. When faced with determined resistance, many alien crews simply gave up. Major Ellen Price coordinated with resistance movements on other worlds through the captured alien communication systems. Earth's defiance was inspiring rebellions throughout coalition space. "We are receiving messages from dozens of worlds," she reported. "Species that were conquered years ago are rising up against their coalition occupiers. They see that the coalition can be defeated." This news spread panic through the alien fleet. For the first time in their history, coalition forces were not just facing resistance from one world, but potential rebellion throughout their empire. Admiral Kefvar faced a crisis he had never imagined. His fleet was reduced to fewer than 4,000 operational ships. Admiral Kefvar stood alone on his bridge as reports of disaster flooded in from across his fleet. The Thraxian commander had already withdrawn his remaining ships without permission. The Zeltran fleet was in full retreat. 3 other coalition species had simply stopped fighting and were drifting in space, their crews refusing to continue the battle. "Admiral," his communications officer said with fear in his voice, "the Kovan Empire ships are requesting permission to withdraw. They have lost 80% of their fleet." "Denied," Kefvar replied coldly. "Any ship that retreats will be marked as traitors to the coalition." But his threats carried no weight anymore. His own crew was beginning to look at him with doubt. Never in coalition history had a single battle cost so many lives. Never had member species openly defied a coalition. Admiral during combat. Captain Dan Brooks watched from his captured alien ship as the coalition fleet fell apart. His boarding teams had seized 12 alien vessels in the past hour. Most of the alien crews had surrendered without fighting once human Marines broke through their outer defenses. "Captain Brooks," came a transmission from one of his Marines. "The alien crew on this ship wants to talk to you. They are asking about surrender terms." Brooks was surprised. "Surrender terms? We have not offered any terms." "That is what they want to know about, sir. They want to know if humans take prisoners, or if we execute captured enemies." This was something Brooks had not expected. He activated his communication system to speak with the alien crew. "This is Captain Brooks of the Earth Defense Force. We do not execute prisoners. Surrender your weapons, and you will be treated according to human military law." The alien captain on the screen looked confused. "You will not torture us?" You will not sell us as slaves? No, humans do not torture prisoners or keep slaves. But that is what the Coalition does to defeated enemies. That is what we expected you to do to us. Brooks began to understand. The Coalition had built their empire on fear. Every species they conquered was treated brutally. They expected the same treatment from humans. Surrender your ship and you will be safe, Brooks promised. Within minutes, 3 more alien ships surrendered to his small fleet. Word was spreading through the Coalition forces that humans treated prisoners fairly. For species that faced execution if they returned home in defeat, surrender to humans suddenly seemed like a reasonable option. Major Ellen Price monitored communications from across the galaxy as rebellions erupted on Coalition worlds. The news that humans were defeating the mighty Coalition fleet had spread faster than anyone expected. President Harrison, she reported, we are receiving messages from 17 different worlds. Species that were conquered by the Coalition are declaring independence. They want to know if Earth will support their freedom movements. President Harrison considered this carefully. Earth was still fighting for its own survival, but they had an opportunity to reshape the entire galaxy. Tell them that any species fighting for freedom has Earth support. We will share our defensive technologies with any world that declares independence from the Coalition. This message was broadcast throughout the galaxy using captured alien communication systems. The effect was immediate. More worlds declared independence. Coalition garrison forces found themselves under attack by the very species they were supposed to control. Commander Frank Stone worked frantically in his engineering section, adapting alien technology as fast as possible. His teams had made breakthrough after breakthrough as they studied captured Coalition equipment. I have got their shield generators figured out, he reported. But there is something interesting here. Their technology is actually less advanced than ours in some ways. What do you mean? General Morgan asked. They rely too much on automation. Their ships basically fly themselves. Their weapons aim themselves. Their crews just give general orders and let the machines do everything. And that is a weakness? It is a huge weakness. When their automated systems are damaged or confused, their crews do not know how to take manual control. We can disable their ships without destroying them just by overloading their computer systems. Stone had discovered something important. The Coalition had become so dependent on advanced technology that they had forgotten how to fight without it. Human crews, trained to operate their equipment manually, could continue fighting even when their systems were damaged. All human ships. Stone transmitted. Target alien computer systems instead of trying to destroy their ships. Electromagnetic pulse weapons will disable them without killing their crews. This new tactic was devastatingly effective. Human ships began disabling alien vessels by the dozens. The aliens found their ships dead in space, all systems offline, while human ships continued to function normally. Captain Joe Rivera led a strike force toward Admiral Keffer's command ship. His mission was to capture or destroy the Coalition's military leadership. But as his ships approached, they encountered something unexpected. Captain, his sensor operator reported, the alien command ship is surrounded by ships from at least 6 different Coalition species. But they are not working together anymore. Rivera looked at his tactical display. The alien fleet was fighting among itself. Some ships were trying to retreat while others were trying to continue the attack. Different species were giving conflicting orders to their allies. It looks like their alliance is falling apart, Rivera observed. Let us help it along. Target the ships that are still fighting. Ignore the ones that are trying to withdraw. This psychological tactic worked perfectly. Coalition species that wanted to retreat saw that humans would let them leave if they stopped fighting. But species that continued the attack were destroyed quickly and efficiently. Dr. Pete Robinson monitored the automated defense network as it continued to reveal new surprises. Hidden weapons that had been disguised for years finally showed their true purpose. Asteroid mining stations are actually missile platforms, he reported. Solar power collectors are actually energy weapons. Even our communications satellites have defensive capabilities. The aliens had completely failed to understand human deception. They had assumed that humans, being a primitive species, would not be capable of such elaborate planning. "How many hidden weapons do we have?" President Harrison asked. "Still counting, sir. But it appears we have been building this defense network for longer than even I realized. Some of these installations go back 15 years. Admiral Kethver watched his fleet disintegrate around him. Of his original 9,900 ships, fewer than 800 remained loyal to him. The rest had either been destroyed, captured, or had retreated without permission. "Admiral," his second-in-command said quietly, "we must consider our options. The humans have proven they cannot be defeated by conventional assault. Then we will use unconventional methods," Kethver replied with desperation in his voice. "Prepare." The planet killers. His crew looked at him with shock. Planet killer weapons were forbidden by coalition law, except in the most extreme circumstances. Using them would destroy all life on Earth, including the billions of humans the coalition had hoped to enslave. "Sir, the Coalition Council has not authorized the use of planet killers," his weapons officer protested. "The Coalition Council is not here," Kethver snarled. "I am, and I will not return home in defeat." But his crew was no longer following his orders without question. Several officers stepped away from their stations. They had signed up to conquer a primitive world, not to commit genocide against an entire species. On Earth, Dr. Kate Williams detected the change in alien weapon signatures as Kethver prepared his most desperate attack. "President Harrison," she reported urgently, "the alien command ship is charging weapons we have never seen before. Energy readings are off the charts." "Planet killers," General Morgan said grimly. "We knew they might resort to this if conventional attacks failed." President Harrison made a decision that would determine the fate of both species. "All forces, target the alien command ship. Everything we have. Do not let them fire those weapons. Every human ship, every orbital platform, every hidden weapon system turned toward Admiral Kethver's flagship." The Admiral found himself facing the combined firepower of Earth's entire defense network. "Admiral," his panicked sensor officer called out, "we are being targeted by over 2,000 different weapon systems. Recommend immediate retreat," but it was too late for retreat. Kethver had committed himself to total victory or total destruction. As he prepared to fire weapons that would kill every living thing on Earth, he discovered that humans had one more surprise waiting for him. Captain Sam Turner led the final assault on the alien command ship. His squadron had been held in reserve for exactly this moment. As the most experienced human pilots, they had been given the most dangerous mission. "All ships, this is Turner Actual," he transmitted. "We go in fast and we go in hard. Our families are counting on us." Turner's squadron dove directly at the alien flagship, ignoring the defensive fire from escort ships. They had one chance to stop the planet killer weapons before they could fire. "Target their main weapon systems," Turner ordered. "Everything we have into their forward sections." The human ships opened fire with every weapon they carried. Kinetic projectiles, adapted alien weapons. Captain Sam Turner's squadron raced through space toward Admiral Kethver's flagship as the alien planet killer weapons began to charge. Red warning lights flashed across his control panel as his ship's sensors detected the massive energy buildup. 30 seconds until they can fire, his weapons officer reported. "We are not going to make it in time." Turner pushed his engines harder, knowing he was asking more from his ship than it was designed to give. Behind him, his squadron followed without question, even though they all knew this was likely a suicide mission. All ships, concentrate fire on their forward weapon arrays, Turner ordered. Even if we cannot stop them, maybe we can damage them enough to reduce the destruction. But as Turner's ships closed in on the alien flagship, something unexpected happened. Several of Kefver's own escort ships turned their weapons on their commander's vessel. "This is Captain Veltar of the Zeltran fleet," came a transmission. On an open channel, "Admiral Kefver's use of planet-killer weapons violates coalition law. We will not be part of genocide." The alien fleet erupted into civil war as coalition species chose sides. Some remained loyal to Kefver out of fear, while others joined the rebellion against him. Ships that had been allies minutes before were now firing on each other. Turner took advantage of the chaos. "All human ships, push through their lines. While they are distracted, stop those planet killers." Lieutenant Colonel Rose Kelly coordinated Earth's final defense from her command center in Colorado. She watched as every human ship and weapon system focused on the alien flagship. "All orbital platforms, fire everything you have," she ordered. "All surface installations, maximum power to your weapons. This is our last chance." Streams of energy and projectiles converged on Kefver's ship from every direction. The alien vessel's shields flared and sparked under the incredible bombardment, but they held. "Shields at 60% and falling," reported Kefver's panicked shield operator. "We cannot maintain power to both shields and the planet killers." "Admiral." Kefver faced the choice that would define his legacy. He could lower his shields and fire the planet killers, destroying Earth but certainly dying in the process. Or he could maintain his shields and retreat, saving his life but admitting total defeat. "Admiral," his second-in-command pleaded, "we must retreat. This battle is lost." Kefver looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. They were terrified and defeated. Many were openly questioning his orders. His own alliance had turned against him. "Never," he snarled, "lower shields. Prepare to fire planet killers." But as he gave the order, his crew finally rebelled. His weapons officer stepped away from his station. His shield operator refused to follow orders. Even his second-in-command drew his sidearm. "Admiral Kefver," his second said firmly, "you are no longer fit for command. Stand down immediately." The mutiny on the alien flagship gave Turner's squadron the opening they needed. Without shields, the alien ship was defenseless against human weapons. "Target their weapon systems," Turner ordered. "Disable those planet killers." Human projectiles slammed into the alien flagship's forward sections, where the planet killer weapons were located. Explosions rippled across the alien ship's hull as critical systems were destroyed. "Planet killer weapons are offline," Turner's sensor operator reported. "They cannot fire." But the battle was not over. Admiral Kefver, in his rage and desperation, activated his ship's self-destruct system. If he could not destroy Earth with planet killers, he would try to damage the human fleet with the explosion of his massive flagship. "All ships, emergency retreat," Turner transmitted. "The alien ship is going to explode." Human and alien ships alike fled from the doomed flagship as its reactors began to overload. The explosion, when it came, was visible from Earth's surface. A new star briefly appeared in the sky as Admiral Kefver's ship destroyed itself. Colonel Gary Nelson led the cleanup operations as the remaining alien ships either surrendered or fled the solar system. His teams worked to secure disabled alien vessels and rescue survivors from both sides. "Status report," President Harrison requested from his command center. "The alien fleet is finished, sir," Nelson reported. "We count 17 ships that escaped the system. All others were either destroyed, captured, or surrendered. Total enemy casualties are estimated at over 90%. The numbers were staggering. Of the 9,900 ships that had attacked Earth, only 17 had survived to retreat. It was the greatest military disaster in galactic history. Dr. Kate Williams coordinated with the teams analyzing captured alien technology. The intelligence they were gathering would change humanity's understanding of the galaxy forever. "Mr. President," she reported, "we have captured enough alien technology to advance our civilization by centuries. Faster than light travel, advanced energy systems, medical technology that can extend human life significantly." "What about the political situation in the galaxy?" Harrison asked. Major Ellen Price answered from her communications center. "Sir, the coalition is collapsing. 43 worlds have declared independence in the past 6 hours. Coalition garrison. Forces are either retreating or being overwhelmed by local rebellions. The victory at Earth had done more than save humanity. It had sparked a galactic revolution that was freeing dozens of species from coalition rule." Captain Dan Brooks brought President Harrison the most important intelligence of all. He had personally interrogated several high-ranking alien prisoners, including some who had served on Admiral Kethver's staff. "Mr. President, we have learned something crucial about the coalition. They ruled through fear, but that fear was based on their reputation for being unbeatable. By defeating them so decisively, we have shattered that reputation. What does that mean for us? It means the galaxy will never be the same. Species that were too afraid to resist the coalition before are now fighting for their freedom. The coalition's empire is crumbling." Admiral Helen Davis, newly promoted to command Earth's first interstellar fleet, studied the captured alien ships that were being repaired and modified for human use. "These vessels will form the core of our space fleet," she explained to President Harrison. "With their technology and our tactics, we can help other worlds defend themselves against any remaining coalition forces." President Harrison prepared to address not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. Using the captured alien communication networks, his message would reach every inhabited world in coalition space. "People of the galaxy," he began, "I am President Jake Harrison of Earth. 6 hours ago, the coalition fleet attacked our world with 9,900 warships. They demanded our surrender and threatened to enslave our people." He paused, letting his words reach across the stars to billions of listeners. "Today, only 17 of those ships escaped our solar system. The rest were destroyed or captured by human forces defending their home. The coalition told us we were primitive and weak. They were wrong. Across the galaxy, beings who had lived under coalition rule for generations listened with growing hope. Earth offers friendship and alliance to all free species. We offer our technology and our support to any world fighting for independence. We offer peace to former coalition worlds that choose freedom over conquest. But to any species that thinks they can conquer Earth or enslave humanity, we offer this warning: we are ready. We have proven that determination and courage can defeat any enemy, no matter how powerful they appear." The message ended, but its effects would reshape galactic civilization for centuries to come. Commander Alex Bennett, still stationed at Luna Base, watched through his telescopes as alien ships limped away from the solar system. The few coalition vessels that had survived were fleeing as fast as their damaged engines could carry them. "It is over," he said to his crew. "We actually won." But even as he spoke, Bennett knew it was not really over. It was a beginning. Humanity had announced itself to the galaxy, not as a species to be conquered, but as a force for freedom and independence. Engineer Lavra Johnson worked with teams of scientists to study the captured alien technology. They were already planning improvements to human ships and weapons based on what they had learned. "The next time someone threatens Earth," she told her assistants, "we will be even more ready." Dr. Steve Carter shut down the emergency defense networks that had saved Earth. The hidden weapons would remain hidden but ready. The quantum communication systems would be expanded to link Earth with its new allies across the galaxy. President Harrison stood in the White House, looking up at the night sky. Somewhere out there, 17 alien ships were carrying news of humanity's victory to whatever remained of the coalition government. What do you think they will do now? General Morgan asked. They will remember, Harrison replied. They will remember that a small blue planet called Earth refused to surrender. They will remember that humans fight differently than any species they have ever encountered. And they will think very carefully before they threaten us again. The Battle of Earth was over. Humanity had won not just survival, but a place among the stars as protectors of freedom throughout the galaxy. In the years that followed, the 17 ships that escaped would spread the story across the galaxy. They would tell of a species that turned space debris into weapons, that fought with determination that bordered on madness.